Well, we're going to talk about part 2 of estate sales. Remember we spoke about the mechanics and legalities of an estate sale last week?
We unpacked only a small part of it. You needed to spread it over a couple of episodes, so let's dig in.
So we know in estate sales where a loved one's passed away and their assets, usually a home, are to be legally distributed to the beneficiaries nominated in a will. So you remember that?
I do indeed. A very regular occurrence, isn't it?
It is, and sadly becoming more regular because we've got an ageing population. So having been involved in my own family estate situation and helped many others to navigate, we'll call it the liquidation of a loved one's biggest asset, I'm acutely aware of the emotion and the fears of the unknown that surviving family members or beneficiaries go through. So today I'm going to offer some experience-based advice to those who may have to deal with this situation in the near future or a bit further down the track. So whether there's one beneficiary or 10 beneficiaries, it's so important for all participants to be on the same page. Now, this is easier said than done at times. In my experience, the biggest impediment to successful sale of an estate's asset, the family home, is usually individual expectations. Now, I'm acutely aware of differing levels of emotion and pride that each beneficiary may have, and this can play a role in the saleability of the property and its time on market. Now, these mixed emotions and expectations can cloud the reality of the sale and distribution of funds from the sale. So here I have to put on what I call the referee's suit and say this. The funds from the sale are a free shot for all involved, and the market, that's the buyers, will pay what the property is really worth, not what one or more of the beneficiaries think it's worth.
Okay.
So I'll share a prime example of what I'm talking about. Fairly early on in my real estate career, I was approached by a gentleman who was the executor for his departed mother's will, and the major asset was an older, somewhat tired home. So there was him, and we'll call him Barry, and 7 other beneficiaries, so 8 beneficiaries in total.
Wow.
And that was brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews. The mother had left quite a few people in the will. So I met Barry at the estate home, the mother's home, and after a good look around and understanding the family situation, I said to Barry, look, the market evidence suggests that the property should sell in that $300,000 to $320,000 range. Barry just stared at me. And I just looked at him and said, is there a problem, mate?
Yep.
He said, well, one of my nephews who's bought and sold a few properties says we should not take a cent under $400,000.
Right.
Right. I went, okay, so Barry, do you think that the property will achieve that number? And he said, maybe, maybe not. I said, Barry, the market evidence strongly suggests low 300s. So how long do the beneficiaries want the property to be on the market for? Well, most of them want it sold now. Fair enough. I said, right, here's a suggestion. I would offer that your nephew take the opportunity to buy the property at $400,000 by giving each of the other 7 beneficiaries $50,000 each. And then he can do as he pleases.
Okay.
Once again, Barry's silent. So suffice to say, the nephew wasn't keen on that scenario. So after a couple of weeks of deliberation, the property went on the market at $349,000. Now, the market rejected that price point, and the family were getting narky that it wasn't selling. You know, over months were going by, and eventually a buyer made an offer of $300,000. All hell broke loose.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and Barry told me that the members of the family were horrified, punching on and threatening to lynch me. So, as I hung on grimly to the buyer, and the only buyer it was, Barry reluctantly acted as peacekeeper and family negotiator, and somehow got them to see reason, and it sold for $315,000 just.
Oh, so a little bit short of their expectations, but the market has spoken.
The market was speaking, but you know the nephew had the opportunity. Well, if you think it's worth $400,000,
yep,
buy everyone out, and it's yours, and pay them $50,000 each.
Yep.
He didn't like that idea. So here's my top tips for families or beneficiaries on how to prepare and sell your loved one's home. Number 1, Make sure you're singing from the same hymn book. Try to have realistic expectations and be aware that the buyers, the market, determine value and write the check. Number 2, prepare the home/property as best you can for sale. You can expect a far better result to sell a tidy, empty home than it is to try and sell a cluttered, unloved one.
Yep.
Number 3, choose your spokesperson or point of contact for the agent so there is one clear line of communication.
So important.
Very important. Number 4, ask the agent to confirm feedback, offers, or any relevant information by text if it's a short, sharp message, or email if it's more detailed, so all parties can see and absorb it. Always ask questions of the agent if anyone's not sure what's going on. Number 5, when an offer presents, deal with them almost as a matter of urgency. In this market, buyers can cool off very quickly, especially if they think the sellers are mucking about. And would you believe, I put an offer to an estate sale this morning, and I'm waiting to hear back from them. I hope they come back quick.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, number 6, be prepared to negotiate. A good agent will guide you here, as they should understand the motives and the terms of the buyer and how the market is behaving generally. Now, if any of the beneficiaries respond to an offer with, tell them to shove it or similar, hog tie them, gag them, and just ask for nods or head shakes. 7.
Not literally, of course.
Not literally, but you know where I'm going. 7, be flexible, be realistic, and be as calm as possible during the sale process. Allowing emotions to dictate the decision-making process will lengthen and hinder what you've set out to achieve.
Okay. Great points you've covered there this morning, Craig. Really appreciate that. Now, what's the market doing on the Northwest Coast at the moment? I haven't asked that question for a few weeks. Is it volatile?
No.
Is it good? Is it bad?
Great question, especially since we've had the second pause by the Reserve Bank.
Yeah.
So 2 months in a row they've left interest rates alone. Now, this should give buyers a little more confidence and could lead to an uptick in the number of listings coming to the market as well. So it still will remain an evenly balanced market, and those conditions are likely to continue. We may just see a bit more activity, that's turnover of property, before the end of 2023.
All right, there's your peek inside this week with Craig at Alderston Real Estate. Thanks for your time, mate. Appreciate it as always.
Thanks, Lou. Really enjoyed it.